Oh, Dan Bilzerian. In a previous video, I talked about Dan Bilzerian and other people online that are portraying just this fake lifestyle that isn't something that you can actually aspire to in the method that they say they got there. Dan Bilzerian was the main focus of that video because at the time, news came out that his company was completely tanking. His company that is publicly traded and his company that has been accused of funding his lifestyle and trying to write it off as marketing costs. Anyways, one of the things that Dan Bilzerian does is tries to trick you and I into thinking that he's a business genius by living a lavish lifestyle with money that his father stole and tries to make us think that it came from legitimate business ventures. Fortunately for you and I, in the topic of today's video, we can look at a little thing called records. Financial records are a beautiful thing that publicly traded companies have to release. That means that we can actually go through the financial statements of Ignite and see if Dan is quite the business savant he thinks he is. We can see if he's on track to make... Wait. How much does Dan think he's gonna make?
The goal is to make a couple $2 billion in cannabis.
Okay, we can see if he's on track for that, and then
I want to be president.
You want to be president of the United States?
Yeah, I think I can do it.
What the f is Dan smoking? Oh, we actually know the answer to that one. Ignite weed. It'll make you delusional. Anyways, let's dive into the financials for 2019 and see how amazing Dan did in his first year being public. So what we can do and what you can do with other publicly traded companies that you might be interested in investing in is you come to the website, we're gonna go all the way down to the bottom, and they try to hide it pretty well because they don't want people to actually find this. We're gonna go to investor relations. And here we can start looking at some information that they want to provide to the different potential investors in this publicly traded company. So we can see right off the bat what they're trying to tell investors is that Dan wanted to be the first premium global cannabis brand. Okay, sure. But then we can see, as they claim in the next sentence, the Ignite brand direction quickly evolved, which means they were failing. And they turned it into a lifestyle brand, which means absolutely nothing. You can also see in the first section of this page that they partner with cultivators, manufacturers, and processors, which leaves the question, what does Ignite actually do? That means that if you invest in this publicly traded company, you're investing in pretty much just a brand. The inventory that they have isn't going to include raw materials that they can sell off to other companies if they need to liquidate. It's going to include finished products that they bought in bulk and that they're probably going to have to liquidate at discounted wholesale prices. That means that you as a shareholder, if this starts going down, you're going to have a much smaller chance of getting your money back. So look at these pathetic numbers. So we have Dan Bilzerian. Yeah, he's got 43 million followers. That's a lot. He's done a very good job about growing his personal branding. But let's look at how many people we can actually convince to give a rat's about his company. Ignite has, only 3 million followers. Didn't move that many people over. Oh, and Ignite CBD has, only around 250,000 followers. And then in the brand verticals, it looks like the most prevalent, the one they listed at the top, is CBD. Yet they could only get a little over half of 1% of Dan's followers to go follow the Ignite CBD page. Doesn't seem like they care what Dan Bilzerian's selling, but let's go to the financials. The financials will actually tell us what's going on. The financials, I'm sure, are gonna show us that Dan's a completely authentic person and that he sells so much product and that he's really a marketing genius. So we're gonna come to the investment tools here, and if we scroll down, we're gonna find a little section called documents. And here is where we're gonna get the real picture. In Instagram terms, which Dan and his lovers will actually understand, this is the no makeup, no filter, I just woke up like this look at Dan Bilzerian's company. So we're gonna go to the 2019 Q4 Consolidated Financials because that's gonna give us a look at the entire year. And now, dear viewer, I present to you the truth. So the great thing about publicly traded companies is their financial statements do get audited by a third party. In this case, we have Davidson & Company, LLP. This helps the shareholder know that they're actually getting legitimate numbers that they can use to make investment decisions, unless you pull in Arthur Andersen and want to be involved in the next Enron scandal. So anyways, what they're saying at the top here is that they believe that these numbers are true based on what they've seen. Cool. And here we get to start looking at the numbers. Now, normally you're going to see this when you look at financial statements in thousands or millions, but Dan Bilzerian's company did such little volume that they can actually put the entire dollar amount onto these statements. So what we're going to look at here, we have our assets, we have our liabilities, and we have what's called shareholder equity. And on any balance sheet, your total liabilities plus your total shareholders' equity is going to equate to your total assets. This is basically showing that the position that the shareholders have in the company, if they were to liquidate and get the dollar amount for those assets and pay down the dollar amount of those total liabilities, that would be the remainder to be dispersed amongst the shareholders. So in our assets, we have over 15 million in cash, which is definitely investment money or loan money from a bank because they don't have near that in sales, which we'll get to in a minute. They have 1.5 million in accounts receivable, which is basically where they've recorded some sales and they're waiting on payment for that. They say they have 6 million in inventory, probably inventory sitting on the shelf that they couldn't sell. And remember on that first page that we looked at, they're basically paying other companies to handle the entire production of this product. So this is completed inventory. This is something they're gonna have to sell with Ignite's logo on it. This isn't raw materials that you can suddenly liquidate to other companies that can use it for their products. So when I'm looking at that, to me, I'm probably gonna think when it comes to liquidation, that number is gonna be lower. Anyways, to not bore you too much with everything, we're looking at about 38.7 million in total assets. Okay, so that's the total assets, and it means pretty much nothing until we look at the actual liabilities and the shareholder equity. So what jumps out to me right away in the liabilities is the accounts payable, which is probably gonna be a lot for the production and the manufacturing of their products, is at about 5.6 million. And they're sitting on only about 6 million in inventory. So it seems like their margins, at least from the account payable, again, this is speculative, but when you're doing investment, you have to look at these things and be speculative about where you think this company's going. It doesn't look like their margins are very good at all with these products. So we can see all the money that they currently owe comes to about $14 million, and then their long-term liabilities boost that number to $33.7 million. That leaves our shareholders with just under $5 million. Dan Bilzerian on Twitter says he raised $100 million. The total shareholder equity, which he says he owns most of at this point, is under 5 million. That means that this business's liabilities are over 6.5 times the amount of the shareholder equity. The financial position you're putting yourself in to invest in this company is pretty daunting based on this alone. But maybe there's so many liabilities because they're selling so much product, they're having to expand, and they're having to buy all these other things where they took out a lot of debt so they could ramp up production and service all of these purchase orders. There's no way that Dan Bilzerian's a dope. He's got to be a genius businessman. I mean, hey, a few people have even been paid to say it. In 2019, for the entire year, the man who has 43 million Instagram followers and claims that is his primary marketing avenue sold a grand total of right around $9.5 million. Well, that was a little underwhelming. Almost 34 million in liabilities, an $83 million accumulated deficit for $9.5 million. Oh wait, no, it wasn't for $9.5 million. That's revenue. Cost of goods sold, $7.5 million, leaving us with a gross profit for the year at just over $2 million. Basically, because of this business model where Dan Bilzerian doesn't want to handle any of the production of the actual product, we're looking at a cost of goods sold at about 78% of the revenue. That means that you have to sell a ton of product to make this worthwhile. We also get to look at the operating expenses where just the administrative burden is about 9 times the actual profit. Just the administrative cost is almost double the gross revenue in this business. And then we see the marketing costs being oh man. Oh, this is why you're under fire. $22 million for 9.6 million in gross revenue. Let that sink in that Ignite is claiming to spend $22 million to receive $9.6 million. That means that for each $1 bill that Ignite spent on marketing, they got back around 43 cents. That means that if you want to be the businessman that Dan Bilzerian is, you can go out to the street with $1 bills and hand them to strangers for 43 cents in return. You'll be doing pretty much the same thing as Dan Bilzerian's doing with Ignite. We see the total operating expenses being $45.8 million, bringing us to a total loss of $43 $43.6 million. Their gross profit minus their operating cost lost them $43.5 million. How you lose over $43 million on under $10 million of transactions is beyond anyone's comprehension. This has to be one of the most irresponsible handlings of a company I've ever seen. When we factor in the other income and other expenses, we're looking at a net loss of the year of almost $70 million. $68.8 million in losses. Dan Bilzerian went out there, plastered the stuff all over social media, couldn't sell a f***ing thing, and got people to invest in this bull company and lost almost $70 million for $9.6 million in sales. We look at the expenses by nature, and what they paid out in payroll and benefits was $11.1 million. That means that the gross revenue, not profit, the gross revenue doesn't even cover their payroll, doesn't even cover just paying the people that work there. And I only have so much time, so let's look at the revenues broken down by category. Their e-commerce sales was $6.3 million. Their wholesale sales, this is gonna be like to other businesses like a convenience store which stocks literally every CBD product you could ever imagine. You can go to any gas station anywhere and there's like 950 different brands of CBD something. You pretty much just have to go ask to put your product in there and they're gonna purchase it from you. Their wholesale sales is under $3 million. You have 43 million on Instagram, you have a whole executive team, and you have under 3 million in wholesale? Who the f is on this guy's team? Luckily, we can see that too. So we have Lester Lee, the executive president. He's worked for AT&T, Spectrum, Philips Norelco, Truck Accessories Group. Okay, Apollo Brands. Let's take a look at that. What's Apollo Brands? Okay, so this guy worked for a company that sells some random energy gum. This would be the perfect kind of brand that you'd see in little niche convenience stores and random gas stations. So you'd think Lester Lee would have some kind of network where he could start selling Ignite products into these convenience stores. We have Paul Dowdle, okay, Apple, BlackBerry, not really relevant. Diamond Estates Wine and Spirits. So this guy should have a pretty good relationship with beverage distributors. Ignite sells vodka and they sell water. You'd think that this guy would be able to get them in a lot of different liquor stores, a lot of different, again, gas stations with the water, but it kind of looks like his network also might not want to touch this brand for some reason. I can only wonder why. All right, we have John Schaefer as the COO. Okay, VP of Operations at MedMen, let's see. Dispensaries and delivery service. Okay, so the THC, the weed. Here we go. Again, another person with a whole network that can get your products into stores that would be listed under that wholesale category. Here we go, even more. Coca-Cola, King's Hawaiian, McCain Foods. All these companies that are reliant on getting their products into businesses. Wholesale sales. But the whole team together with the inclusion of 43 million Instagram followers could get under 3 million in wholesale and under 10 million in total sales. It's pathetic. Nobody wants to touch this brand. Either people are leery of Dan Bilzerian himself or your product's complete. But again, there's something keeping anyone from wanting to touch this company at all. And I'm not just talking about the investment end. And they did say they came up with some kind of deal with Circle K, but I looked at the Q1 financial statements, they're not really improving, and the Q2 financial statements have been delayed, which probably means that they're trying to put off the inevitable of telling their investors that they're completely screwed. So all in all, look, anybody, if it's a publicly traded company, you can go see the financial statements that are audited from these companies. If you want to invest in Dan Bilzerian's company, which I would highly suggest against, and I hold no position in it, go read the financial statements. If you want to invest in any other company, go look at the records that are publicly available so you can make good investing decisions. And if some dude has a publicly traded company and's running his mouth about how amazing he is and how great his life is and how stupid you are and how much of a business genius he is, go look at the financial statements and prove that he's nothing more than a phony living off stolen trust fund money. Dan Bilzerian is living off of ill-gotten gains within a trust fund because our government in the United States doesn't have the balls to go take money back when it's stolen via white-collar crime. Dan probably won't get labeled as a criminal because there's probably enough loopholes for him to actually write off a lot of his lifestyle stuff as marketing. He raised $100 million, he blew it on hookers and parties and steroids and other drugs, and has the nerve to call it marketing. Dan Bilzerian is a crappy businessman that tries to make you think that he's successful in order for you to think that he is somebody to aspire to. He's not worth your time, he's not worth your attention, and his company is for sure not worth your investment. That's it for today, everyone. Let me know what your thoughts are on this down in the comments below, and let me know if this was interesting for you. Go ahead and hit that like button to help this video out, and hit that subscribe button if you're not subscribed yet. If you are subscribed, go ahead and hit that notification bell so you can get new videos every single week. Go ahead and check out the social links down in the description. Live on Twitch a couple times per week. I also have Instagram, Twitter, and a few other things. Go down there, check it out. As always, let me know what you'd like me to talk about or what you'd like to learn about next. I'm Cole, and I'll see you in the next one.